Welcome to More Than a Few Words, a marketing conversation. This is your host, Lorraine Ball, and this is another one of my favorite kind of conversations, the one about things that kind of went wrong. And sitting in the guest chair today is Rachel Allen, and she has been making words make money for more than 17 years. She's a former guest here on the show, and she's going to share one of her most recent mistakes. Rachel, welcome to More Than a Few Words.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be back.
I am too, because we had fun talking about imaginary marketing friends last time,
hmm
and there'll be a link to the show notes. But this time, what went wrong?
Oof. So, as you mentioned, I've been doing this for 17 plus years. And last year, about this time, I found that audience engagement was just really dropping off. I was writing posts, I was doing the same thing I had been doing for quite some time. And I was bored with myself. But I kept on doing it because that's what you're supposed to do, even though I know better. And of course, since I was bored with myself, it was, of course, boring to my audience as well. And instead of just following my instinct and being like, you know what, maybe I just don't post this month, or maybe I find something more interesting to say, I kept it up for far too long. And then finally, I got smart several months later after things were dropping off. And I was like, no, I'm just not going to say anything until I have something interesting to say again.
Oh my goodness. Two things there. The first is, what finally got you to that moment where you said, "Hey, I'm done. I'm totally done. I'm not going to say anything else." What was that tipping point?
I wrote this post for Substack with a title that I kind of hated when I wrote it. And I put it up because I was like, oh, whatever. I guess I have to do it. And the argument was solid. The writing was forced. And I looked back over it. It came into my inbox as it published. And I was like, I would not read that.
Okay. That's I think every chef gets into that. If you talk to chefs about restaurants, they make what they make and they make it over and
Yeah.
over and over again. And then there's that moment that they're like, I don't want to eat that anymore. And
hmm
when we as marketers are like, yeah, no, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
So you paused, you stopped, and what did you do? What were your learnings before you started up again?
So I gave myself an open-ended pass to stop until I felt ready again. And I think having that just like no pressure to start back up was really helpful. And what finally made the shift was I was speaking to a friend and I realized that what was really annoying me about the way I had been approaching this was that I had this underlying I don't know, structure of business or marketing where it was like, well, I have to get your attention. And that's very adversarial, right? Like it's I have to perform for you. And that's not how I actually do business. It's not how I write marketing for anybody else. And again, I know better, I've been like reeling with this for years. But I think these things get so deeply embedded in our worldview sometimes. And so I'm on the phone with my friend and I'm like, I will not barter my personal life for an online popularity contest. And she looks at me and she's like, okay, well, maybe just don't. And I was like, oh. So having her just very gently be like, or you could just do something else, really shifted it around. And then I was like, okay, well, here's my new rule. If it doesn't make me laugh, care, or learn something, I'm not writing it. And now I'm just writing random things that I would never have done before, and people are so into them.
It's so funny that you say that because I shifted my newsletter. I missed a week and I was horrified because I never, and I want to talk about the emotional that in a minute. But then I came back with this very new format that embraces something I've really not talked about before, which is my photography. So all of my newsletters have one of my photos and they are really short and they're more personal and I'm getting more engagement. And are you seeing the same thing as you've kind of started writing about things that light you up?
Yeah, Absolutely. And I think that it's this sort of reciprocal process because I write about things that light me up. And then as you know, when somebody looks at one of your photographs and is like, "Oh, that's amazing," it lights you up. And then you're able to give even more and more. And I
Mhm.
think just taking that brave first step of being like, so my next newsletter is going to be about I'm writing a musical about my cat. I don't know why. It just started happening in my bed in my head as I went to sleep at night.
Only
So,
another cat owner could
right?
really appreciate that.
Exactly, and so that's absurd. Nobody would ever reverse engineer their way into that as a marketing topic, but of course there's stuff there to talk about. And by being able to share this very silly thing I'm doing that makes me happy, I know that people are gonna respond to that and think it's hilarious too.
Okay, I want to go back because you did something really brave and scary, and that was you went dark. And you would, get on LinkedIn and go, "Well, I'm not posting today." "Yeah, yeah, I'm here, but I'm not posting." And then you came back the next day and you did the same thing. How did you deal with that that sense of, "Oh my god, I'm not," and well, how did you deal with that?
I think the way you described it is so accurate, right? Because it's that sense of like, oh, it's that elevator falling. Of is it going to keep falling? Is it going to keep falling? Am I never going to post anything again? How am I going to market my business? And I think part of it is just having the maturity, like in business, to know that eventually I'm going to say something. Historically, it's always come back around. And I finally took my own advice that I often give clients, which is marketing is a conversation, and conversations have pauses in them. We're not just broadcasting at each other. And so that was what I kind of held on to. And then just to double check myself, I would talk to really good friends who knew me in business and know my business just to be like, hey, am I doing something really dumb here? Do I need to get over myself and just post it? And they'd be like, nope, it's fine.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Not just that you had the strength, but then you had smart people around you who said, "No, no, you're you're doing okay." And when you came back, when you started posting again, are you posting on a different schedule? What's different about what you're doing besides the content itself, or is that the only difference?
It is a different schedule. So I had this grand plan of doing a Substack essay a month along with a workshop because that's historically been very easy for me. And it just felt like such a heavy lift. And people didn't really want this like heavy, dense educational content right now. So instead, I send a newsletter about every 2 weeks, certainly once a month, where I'm sharing my analysis of what I'm seeing in the entrepreneurial space and marketing space because I think so many people are feeling the effects of trends that they can't name, and that's very disconcerting. So I'm trying to be like, "Here's what I think it is, what's your response?" And then I'm actually doing, a daily video on Instagram, so doing a daily short little reel.
Wow, that's really cool. That's a really cool, um, and when okay, because I'm always curious about the production side of it. Are you really shooting them in real time, or are you shooting a bunch and then dropping them?
So far, I'm shooting them in real time. It's gotten to where, I don't edit it or anything. I do one take and whatever happens, happens, and they're all less than 3 minutes or usually less than one. So I've kind of started using it to round off my day because a lot of times I can talk about something that happened. I can talk about a question someone asked me, some random thought. I show off pictures from my garden. It's just trying to provide a tiny thing that can be helpful. Or I'll do a lot of 15-second fixes. Here's something you can do in 15 seconds to fix your marketing today. And those have been very popular.
That's really brilliant. I've played on a lot of the different platforms for a long time, and I have to admit that I've never quite got it right on Instagram, and I think
Mhm.
part of it is that you really need that's one if you're gonna do it, you gotta commit to and do it, and I'm not sure I wanna get up every morning or finish my day every day with saying something, so kudos to you for giving that a shot.
Oh, thank you. We'll see how it goes.
Well, and you know what we've learned from this though is that it's okay if you get to a moment where you're like, nah. Yeah, because I did daily. I did a daily podcast when Amazon first released
Mm,
their Alexa daily, give
mhm,
me the my update.
mhm.
And I did it for 45 days. And then I went, ooh, no, done.
Yeah,
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 because
and
it's
I
a
think
lot.
like, good for you for recognizing when you're done. I think so much of the horrible content we see is people forcing themselves to do this stuff when they're just like, I'm done."
Yeah. And I think that's really the takeaway from this is it's okay to be done.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
okay to look at something and you said it in the very beginning. I was posting the same kind of content that I'd been posting for a long time. It had always worked and it just wasn't anymore.
Yeah.
And it's okay to go, you know what? This ain't working for me. I need to try something different. And it
Mhm.
sounds like the different is really working for you.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, I enjoy it so much more, but I am getting much higher engagement and I've started really attracting new clients in, which has been really fun.
Okay, I'm going to go with that's working if A, you're attracting new clients, and B, you're actually having fun because
Yeah.
that's a win-win, honey.
Absolutely.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll tell you what, Rachel, I can hang out with you for way longer, but we're going to put a pin in it here. I am going to encourage everybody, if you want to see what Rachel is doing, if you want to know more about her, you can find her at Rachel Allen on LinkedIn or boltfromthebluecopywriting.com. Rachel, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
This was so much fun. And if you've enjoyed this conversation, you'd like to find other resources and conversations like this, head over to morethanafewwords.com. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.